Hello everyone, myself Dr. Anindya Sundar Das. I am working as an assistant professor in Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering in Swami Vivekananda Institute of Science and Technology, Dakshin Govindapur, Kolkata. This is lecture number 23 of the subject Control System and Instrumentation, and the topic of this video lecture is Nyquist Stability Criterion. Okay. Now, the basic concept, let me remind you about the basic concept that we can have a open loop control system whose transfer function is gs, okay, and we can have some controller, okay, whose function is k, and we can have a summer, okay, and we have the input command and output can be fed back, okay. Then we can have this basic control system structure: controller, plant and feedback, and here we have input and we have output, okay. This is in negative feedback. Now the transfer function of gs, okay, open loop transfer function, we can combine these two block and we can have k ns by ds. Now roots of numerator polynomial ns are the zeros of open loop transfer function, and roots of ds denominator polynomial are the poles of open loop transfer function. Now if we find out the closed loop transfer function, okay, that means with taking care of the feedback path, if we assume h equal to 1, okay, unity negative feedback, then the formula of closed loop transfer function is gs by 1 plus g into h equal to 1. So if we put gs value in this formula, what you will get kns by ds plus kns. That means what? That means now the roots of ns, okay, the roots of ns are the zeros of closed loop transfer function, and the roots of ds plus kns are the poles of the closed loop transfer function. From that point, what we can conclude that the poles of open loop transfer function are, we can get it from this ds, and the roots of or poles of closed loop transfer function that we can get from ds plus kns polynomial. That means ns, the numerator of or zeros of open loop transfer function, become poles of closed loop transfer function. Zeros of open loop transfer function, okay, becomes poles of closed loop transfer function. Now this is the concept that we have to use in Nyquist stability criterion. Okay, that means from the open loop system we can find out whether the closed loop system is stable or not, and we can find out the relative stability. That means how many poles are there on right half plane, that we can also find out, just like Routh-Hurwitz stability criteria, okay, that we can find out. Now already I told you about this point that a function fs, okay, transfer function written in terms of zeros and poles. Here we have m number of 0, n number of pole, okay, numerator polynomial are zeros and roots of denominator are the poles. Now s is a complex frequency expressed as sigma plus j omega. Then what we can do, we can have another complex plane which is known as, or which can be called as fs plane, okay, with coordinates u and v. That means we have s, okay, sigma j omega s plane. We can have another plane that is nothing but fs plane, whose imaginary real axis is u, imaginary axis is jv. Then whatever the location of pole and 0 in s plane, we can map that into this fs plane. That means for a particular value of s, the fs transfer function will represent a point in fs plane also. Now what you have to do, that for every point s in the s plane at which fs is analytic. Okay, analytic means a function is analytic in the s plane provided the function and its all derivatives exist. The points in s plane where the function or its derivative does not exist are called the singular points. That means the poles. Poles basically causes the are basically the singular points. That means at the value of pole, what happened? Transfer function becomes infinite value. That means it is the poles are the singular point. That is the main factor. That so hence it can be concluded that the function f transfer function fs maps the points in the s plane into fs plane. So we have s plane, we can map that into fs plane. Okay, that means if we have pole, okay, if we have pole in the right half s plane, then what we can do, we can enclose that pole with a enclose that pole. Okay, then if you can map that, okay, into fs plane, what we can observe, that we have this origin should be encircled in anti-clockwise direction one time if we have one pole. That proof I will show you after some time. Now, since any number of points in S plane can be mapped into Fs plane, it can be concluded that for a contour in the S plane which does not go through any singular point, that means at that point your transfer function becomes infinite, then there exists a corresponding contour in the Fs plane. So we are basically converting from S to Fs plane. That is the main point. Okay. Now, on observing the S plane contours and the corresponding Fs plane contours, it can be concluded that there exists a relationship between the enclosure of poles and zeros by S plane cross contour and number of encirclement. That means if we have on right hand side, if we have poles and zeros, okay, in right half plane, if we have poles and zeros and that is enclosed, say in clockwise direction, then if we transform that into fs plane, your origin of the fs plane should be encircled by some number of time. It can be 0, it can be 1, 2, 3, any value. Now, number of encirclements of the origin of fs plane by the corresponding fs plane continues. So from that logic we have to find out the Nyquist stability criterion argument. Now for the development of Nyquist criterion, the exact shape of the contour is not required, but only number of encirclement of the origin of the fs plane is essential. Now a point is said to be encircled by a closed path if it is found inside the path. So in this particular example, a point, okay, is basically encircled by the closed path. Okay, by this closed path, a point is encircled, whereas b point is not. Now let me show you an example that we have a s plane. Okay, this is your s plane. We have a transfer open loop transfer function 1 by s minus 2. So on the right hand plane of s plane we have a pole, and what we are doing, we are enclosing the pole with a closed path, and we can find or we can mark some point, say a b c d e f G, H. Okay, those are the point that we have marked, and the direction of rotation is clockwise. Okay, the direction of rotation is clockwise. Now we have a pole on right hand plane of S plane that we have to map into FS plane. Okay, into FS plane. Then what will happen? Let us first find out. Now what we are doing is we are taking this A point whose value is 1 J1. Okay, B point 2 plus J1, C point is here, okay, which is 3 J1, then D point is 3 J0, E 3 minus J1, F 2 minus J1, then G 1 minus J1, and H is 1 plus J0. Now those S value we can put in this particular transfer function. We will get all this transfer function. Fine. Now we can find out magnitude. That we know how to find out magnitude. Magnitude is root of real part square root over of real part square divided plus imaginary part square. Okay, imaginary square. So it will be 1 divided by root of 1 square plus 1 square root 2. Okay, and angle we can find out how. This is minus a plus factor. Okay, that means this is nothing but minus a plus jb. So here it is the point. So this angle must be 180 degree minus 180 degree minus tan inverse of minus 180 degree minus tan inverse of 1, right? Because here it is numerator at denominator, so it will be 180 degree minus tan inverse of omega. Now we can put this to numerator, minus 180 degree plus tan inverse of omega. Tan inverse of omega equal to 1. If you put, then it will be 45, so it will be minus 135. Fine. Now if it is B point is value magnitude. Okay, so all the magnitude we can find out, then all the angle we can find out. Fine. So now we can plot that in FS plane. What we can see here, that first point is 1 by root 2, angle is 135 degree. So this is your angle 0 degree, this is your minus 90 degree, this is your minus 180 degree. Angle means we have to go clockwise direction, angle is minus. Okay, angle is minus. If we go anti-clockwise direction, angle is plus. That is the point that you have to remember. Now this is the angle minus 135, so it will be A, then B 1 value minus 90 degree, this is your C, okay, then D 0 degree, E plus 45 degree plus 90 degree, F, G, then this is your H. What we can see, if a pole on right half plane in H plane, okay, enclosed by a clockwise, okay, enclosed by a closed path, clockwise closed path, then if you convert that into corresponding FS plane, what we can observe, that it is now origin is encircled by one circle, or one, this origin is enclosed by one time in anti-clockwise direction. The direction of arrow is anti-clockwise. So the point here, encirclement of origin is in anti-clockwise direction one time for one pole in right half plane. One pole in right half plane. That is the conclusion. Now if we take 0, okay, in the right half plane of S plane, okay, now similarly we can enclose that and we can find out some point A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and we know all the value of A, B, C, D up to H. Then we can find out what is the transfer function value from this transfer function S minus S to S value we can put. Then we can find out the magnitude value and angle value. After that, we can plot that in FS plane, which is another complex plane. Okay, FS plane. So what we can see here that, or what we can observe from this table, if you plot root 2 is the highest value than 1, greater than 1, it is started from 135 plus 135 is here. Okay, so this is your point A. Fine, this is the point A. 1 plus 135 degree root 2 value. Then 1 that is lesser than that, 190 degree. Okay, this is your B. Then C 45 degree, then 1 0 degree, then minus 45 degree root 2 E, then F 1 minus 90 degree, minus 135 degree G, then we have H. So if we have a 0 in the right half plane of S plane, and if we enclose that, fine, and then if we convert into FS plane, what we can see or what we can observe that this rotation, okay, this rotation becomes clockwise and encirclement is only for one time in clockwise direction. So encirclement of origin in clockwise direction one time or 10 in right half plane. So this is the two main point that you have to remember. From that, if you can understand this concept, that how we are getting from right half one pole or 10 in right half plane of S plane, and if we enclose that with a closed path, then if we convert that into FS plane, if we have pole, then it is clockwise direction enclosed by a closed path which is clockwise direction. If we have a pole is enclosed, then number encirclement of origin of FS plane in anti-clockwise direction for one time for one pole in right half plane. If it is 0, encirclement of origin in clockwise direction for 10 in right half plane. Now if we have say two zeros, okay, two zeros, then what happened for 10, for 1 encirclement of origin, two zeros means two encirclement. That is the difference. So here we will have these two encirclement, okay, of the origin. So from origin, if you take a tangent line, we can observe it crosses two lines, so it is two encirclement. So the concept here is, if S plane contour encloses z number of zeros, S plane contour, okay, closed path encloses z number of zeros in the right half of S plane, then corresponding FS plane will encircle the origin of FS plane z times in clockwise direction, okay, in clockwise direction. That is the point you have seen here. Proof, this I have taken only for 10, but you can have two zeros and you can calculate and find out. We will get two encirclement in clockwise direction if we have z number of encirclement should be z times. So 10 one time, 20 two time, 30 three time, like that way. Now for poles, if S plane closed contour encloses p number of poles in right half of S plane, then the corresponding contour of FS plane will encircle the origin p times in anti-clockwise direction. That already we have seen for this example. If we have pole that is enclosed in the S plane, right half plane. In S plane, on the right hand side, if we have a pole that is enclosed, if we convert into FS plane, the origin of FS plane encircled one time, okay, one time in anti-clockwise direction. So here it is anti-clockwise direction. We have two poles, that's why two encirclement of the origin. This is the point. Now if we have say pole and zero both, okay, and the point is if S plane closed contour encloses Z number of zeros and P number of poles, okay, in the right half of S plane, then if P greater than Z, here it is P equal to 2 and Z equal to 1, then what will happen? The corresponding contour in FS plane will encircle the origin of FS plane P minus Z times in anti-clockwise direction. So here P equal to 2, Z equal to 1, so we have only one encirclement, okay, about the origin, and direction is anti-clockwise because P is higher than Z. For pole, the encirclement must be anti-clockwise, okay, and Z, the encirclement must be clockwise. So this is the concept. Now P is higher, so it should be anti-clockwise. And how many times? P minus Z times. Now similarly, if we have P less than Z, that means S plane closed contour encloses Z number of zeros, P number of poles in the right half of S plane, then the corresponding contour in FS plane will encircle the origin of Fs Z minus P times in the clockwise direction, because here number of Z equal to 2 and P equal to 1. So if P greater than Z, then anti-clockwise direction. If P less than Z, then clockwise direction, and number of encirclement should be P minus Z or Z minus P if we have both pole and zero in the right half of S plane. This is the basic concept. And if we have mm, P equal to Z, then what will happen? If we have P equal to Z, then origin, okay, will not encircle. That means if S plane enclosed contour encloses Z number of 0, P number of poles in the right half of S plane, and if P greater equal to Z, then corresponding contour in FS plane will not encircle the origin of S plane. So this is another most important point. If P equal to Z in right half of S plane of open loop transfer function, then origin of FS plane, if you mapped into FS plane from S plane, it it will not encircle the origin. That is the difference, okay, that you have to remember. So this is the point that you have to know. Now another point, that if S plane closed contour does not enclose any zero and pole, that means we are not enclosing pole and zero, that is in that enclosed or in the contour in the S plane we don't have any pole and zero, then if we convert that into or map that into FS plane, what will happen? That origin will not encircle, okay, that FS plane contour, corresponding contour in FS plane will not encircle the origin of FS plane. So this is the logic that you have to. So these are the main point. Using that we have to form or we have to find out the concept of Nyquist stability criterion. Now let me tell you about the principle of argument of Nyquist stability criteria. Now the relation between the enclosure of poles and zeros of transfer function, or say open loop transfer function, lying on the right half of S plane by the S plane contour, and the encirclement of the origin of FS plane by corresponding FS plane contour is called principle of argument. That means this is the point. This is the argument actually. But it said that the relation between S plane and Fs plane, we have to find out the relation. What is the relation? That the enclosure of pole and 0 in the right half plane of S plane by the S plane contour means closed path, and the encirclement of origin of Fs plane contour of Fs plane by corresponding Fs plane contour is called principle of argument. That already we have talked about. What will happen if we have one pole on right hand side of S plane, two poles, then 1 0 2 zeros, or p greater than z, okay, more number of pole than 0, more number of 0 than pole, and p equal to z. So that is the principle of argument of Nyquist stability criterion. Now let Fs, the transfer function, is analytic in a given region in the S plane except some point both at the pole. Then if an arbitrary closed contour is chosen in the S plane so that Fs is analytic at every point on the closed contour in S plane, then corresponding Fs plane contour mapped in the Fs plane will encircle the origin n times in anticlockwise direction. That means if we use this particular formula, that is n equal to p minus z. Here n is anticlockwise direction. That means if we have if you know number of pole and number of 0, okay, actually this is not number of 0, that I will tell you what is that. Now this is number of pole of open loop transfer function. This is number of 0 of open loop transfer function, or number of poles of closed loop transfer function, right? That already I told you in the first slide. The zeros of open loop transfer function are the poles of closed loop transfer function, right? So this is the logic. Now here if we take p, anticlockwise is more than z, then we can consider that one as anticlockwise. So n is anticlockwise direction, where n is the difference between number of pole and 0 of the open loop transfer function Fs that are encircled by closed contour in S plane. So this is the formula that we are getting from the principle of argument of Nyquist stability criterion, n equal to p minus z. That is the formula. Now before going into that, let us find out another important point, that is the open loop transfer function GSHS can be expressed as Fs equal to 1 plus GSHS equal to 0, right? That is the characteristic equation. So GSHS can be written as Fs minus 1. So what we can conclude, that the contour of Fs drawn with respect to origin of Fs plane is same as the contour of Fs minus 1 drawn with respect to minus 1 plus J0 of Fs plane. So from Fs we are subtracting minus 1, right? So if we plot this 1 plus GH, what we are plotting with respect to Fs, 1 plus GH we are plotting in Fs, then in that case it is encircled by it should encircle the origin. Now if we want to plot GSHS only in Fs minus 1 plane, then what will happen, that Fs equal to minus 1, so this minus 1 point should be encircled. That is the logic that we are getting. Okay, this is 1 plus GSHS plotted into Fs, if we plot GSHS, that will be Fs minus 1. So that circle should shift from 0 to minus 1. That is the logic we are getting. Then does the encirclement of the origin of S plane by the contour of transfer function is equivalent to the encirclement of point minus 1 plus j0 by the contour of Fs minus 1. Both are same. So this is the logic. So we can say that Fs minus 1 represents the open loop transfer function. The plot of open loop transfer function. Hence contour Fs minus 1 is the same as contour of GSHS and Fs plane is GSHS plane. Therefore, the encirclement of minus 1 plus j0 point of open loop transfer function contour in the GSHS plane can be used to determine the stability of closed loop system. The Nyquist stability criterion proposed on this concept only. So what I have already told you that point that the main formula of Nyquist stability criterion is n equal to p minus z, where n in anti-clockwise direction, because we are taking pole as highest number. Okay, now n is number of encirclement of origin of S plane, or we can say origin encirclement of critical point, that is minus 1 plus j0 in anti-clockwise direction. So n always anti-clockwise direction. That means if you see or if you observe that encirclement is in clockwise direction, okay, in clockwise direction encirclement, then that should be noted as n equal to minus 1, because this is clockwise. N should be anti-clockwise. Clockwise means negative. If that encirclement in anti-clockwise direction, then you have to consider n equal to 1. P. What is the P? P is the number of poles of open loop transfer function lying on right half of the S plane of open loop transfer function, and Z is number of poles lying on right half of S plane of closed loop transfer function, or zeros of transfer function, open loop transfer function lying on right half of S plane of OLTF. Okay, that is the main point. So what we can say from here, if n is positive, that I told you, then direction of encirclement of origin or minus 1 plus j0 point should be anti-clockwise. N is negative if the encirclement of origin or this critical point will be clockwise. N equal to 0 means there is no encirclement. So this is the main logic of uh, Nyquist stability criterion. Okay. Now this point already I have covered. Now say for stability we have to check this condition, n equal to p minus z. Suppose mm, your p equal to 0, that means there is no, for stability the roots of characteristic equation and so that zeros of fs should lie on the right half of the s plane. Okay, should not lie on the right half of the s plane. For stability, z should be equal to 0. From this, what we can say, z is the closed loop transfer function, number of poles of closed loop transfer function in the right half plane. So this z should be 0. If we want to make z equal to 0, what you have to say, n should be equal to p always. Okay. If z not equal to 0, then n should be not equal to 0 to make your stability. So number of poles of open loop transfer function lying on right side of S plane should equal to anti-clockwise encirclement of Fs plane. Then system should be stable, otherwise unstable. Let us take the example. So n equal to p minus z. Suppose your p equal to 1. Okay, that means we have a pole of open loop transfer function in the right half plane, one pole. Then to make it stable, system z should be equal to 0. That means z should be equal to p minus, sorry, p minus n, isn't it? Z equal to p minus n. Now here p equal to n, so n should be 1. Now n should be 1 means that encirclement of this minus 1 point, whatever the encirclement, that should be anti-clockwise direction. Okay. Anti-clockwise encirclement of the origin of S-plane or minus 1 point. Both are the same, you have to consider, because we are taking open loop transfer function. From open loop transfer function, we are not considering 1 plus GS term, only GSHs. So it should be encirclement of minus 1 point. So minus 1 encirclement should be anti-clockwise. Then it becomes 0. If p equal to 2, here it should be 2. Encirclement should be twice. Then z equal to 0. Otherwise it is unstable. Okay. Now let me tell you about the Nyquist contour. That means uh, in Nyquist stability criterion we have to find out, or we have to deal with right half plane poles and zeros. That is the main concept, right half plane poles and zero of open loop transfer function. From that we can find out very easily stability of closed loop system. This is a very simple thing. Now here what we have to do, we have to take care of all the right half plane. So we have to start from this origin. We have to go up 0 to plus infinity, then plus infinity to minus infinity with a radius of infinity. So we have to cover all the right half plane. Then from minus infinity to 0, we have to take another area. So here we have to cover C1, C2, C3, all three area. So for all the frequency 0 to infinity. Now in that case what we have to do is, for C1 is, this is the C1, omega goes from 0 to infinity, positive. So along C1 you have to put s equal to j omega, with omega varies from 0 plus to infinity plus. Along C2 we have to take the value, we have to put s value as limit r e to the power j theta r tends to infinity, and this varies from, this is plus 90 degree to minus 90 degree, and this Nyquist contour is always clockwise. Okay, and along C3 we have to vary from minus infinity to 0 or 0 minus. You have to put s equal to j omega. That's all. Now according to the number of encirclement, if we do not have any encirclement of this critical point, this implies the system is stable if there are no poles of open loop transfer function in the right half of S-plane. That means n equal to p minus z is the formula. So if no encirclement means n equal to 0, then to make your system stable, what should be the value of p? It should be equal to 0, then z equal to 0. Then we can say system is, closed loop system is stable, because z is number of pole lies on right half of S plane. If there are poles on right half of S plane, system becomes unstable. That means if we put p equal to 1, then z becomes 1, so system becomes unstable. So this is the first point. Then if we have anti-clockwise encirclement, that means if we have n equal to p minus z, that means what? Anti-clockwise encirclement, then z equal to what? We can write p minus z, sorry, p minus n. Okay, n is anti-clockwise encirclement, that means n value is plus 1 plus 2 plus 3, any one of that. Okay, that means what? If number of pole of open loop transfer function in the right half plane is equal to number of anti-clockwise encirclement, then Z becomes 0. System is stable. Otherwise, unstable. Okay. Now, if we have clockwise encirclement, then what will happen? Now, n equal to p minus z, we can write z equal to from this p minus n. Now, p is always positive. It can be 1, 2, 3. Let us take 1. Now, say we have a clockwise encirclement. Clockwise encirclement means n is always here in this formula. N is anti-clockwise. Clockwise means it should be negative. So n becomes negative. So if p is 0, that there is no pole, open loop transfer function pole in the right half plane, but z becomes 1 if there is the encirclement of clockwise encirclement. So system becomes unstable. So if p is 0, then also it becomes unstable. If p equal to some value, it will be added. So if clockwise encirclement of this critical point, the system is unstable. Now let us check about one point, that if we have a type 1 system, type 2 or type 3 system, that means type 0 system means what? That is S divided by, say, S minus A, okay, or Ks, or we can have S minus or plus B also, okay. That means here we can have another term S plus C. That means what? We don't have any pole at origin. Type 1 means it can be written as S divided by S into S plus A. So we have a one pole at origin. So type 1. If we have S squared type 2, S cube type 3. That means what? At origin we have pole. That is a singular point. Because if we put this pole value in transfer function, it goes to infinity. Value goes to infinity, so it becomes this is the singular point. So we have to avoid that point. This is the contour of Nyquist contour of when there is no pole on imaginary axis, no pole. But this is the Nyquist contour when there are poles at origin, one pole, two pole, three pole. Then we have to take a diversion here. So from 0 plus to infinity plus we have to go, then plus infinity to minus infinity to 0 minus, from 0 minus to 0 plus by passing this pole location. If we encounter pole here, your transfer function becomes infinity. That is the problem. So that's why here we will get this 4 section C1, C2, C3, C4. Without pole at origin, we will get 3 sections C1, C2, C3. Now C1, C2, C3 already we have seen. C4 how to calculate, let us find out. Now let me just tell you the point of C1, C2, C3. Now C1 means what you have to do from 0 to infinity. So whatever the transfer function, open loop transfer function, we have to put S equal to j omega and put j omega equal to 0 to infinity. Then we can get this plot. Okay, we can get this plot. Then this C2 range, where we have to put this S value equal to R e to the power j theta, R tends to infinity. This is infinite range, infinite radius. That means we are taking all right half plane, all the area, and it varies from plus 90 degree to minus 90 degree. This is your plus 90 degree to minus 90 degree. That is the point. Then if we take like that way, that means if we put S equal to R e to the power j theta here, R tends to infinity, then one can be ignored with respect to infinity, so it will be st. So we can write in this particular form, right? And if we put R equal to infinity here, something by infinity will be 0. So 0 into some angle that we will get, that varies from some negative to positive angle. and the radius is infinity. So due to this infinity range right half plane, infinity radius mm, contour, Nyquist contour, in the Nyquist plot, it will be zero radius. It will be zero radius. Okay. Now then the C2, C3, C3 plot means this is your C1, this is the C1, C2, C3. Here we can have this C4 bypassing this pole at origin. So C3 means minus infinity to minus 0. So whatever the 0 to infinity plot, minus infinity to minus 0 minus, that will be the opposite. So 0 to plus infinity plot is called polar plot, and minus infinity to 0 minus, that will be the inverse of polar plot. That's all. Now this part C4 area, that is from the radius should be 0. So again we have to put s value r e to the power j theta. Okay, but we have to put r equal to 0 because here the radius should be very small. Just we have to bypass this pole location. We don't have to go infinity range, just like for C2 path we have to go infinite, but here it is 0, and it we have to go from minus 90 to plus 90, minus 90 to plus 90, whereas C2 plus 2 minus. Okay. That is the direction we have to take care. That direction you have to take care. We have this part here. Clockwise direction we have to go. Fine. So for C2 plus 90 to minus 90, for this C4 minus 90 to plus 90. Now if we have to put s equal to r e to the power j theta, if r equal to 0, so this term can be 0, s into t, it will be 1. So 1 means we can have this kind of factor. If we put r equal to 0, it becomes infinity. And if we put theta value minus 90 to plus 90, we will get this factor. Infinity e to the power this angle. Infinity this angle we will get. That means what? That means due to this pole at origin, what we will get? We will get an infinite radius in the Nyquist plot. In the Nyquist plot, this is Nyquist contour. From the Nyquist contour, we have to draw the Nyquist plot. This is the basic concept of this Nyquist stability, or the Nyquist stability criterion. So this is the concept, and here we have to remember one point, that say here we have y, fine, we have y. If y, this value equal to 1, this will be what? Plus 90 to minus 90. That means whatever the plot we have, okay, then this is your plus 90, fine, and this is your minus 90 degree. Then what happened? This, because of this factor, if y equal to 1, infinity to the power j pi by 2 y. So it should have one half cycle from plus to minus with a clockwise direction. Infinity radius. Due to this small radius, in Nyquist contour, but in Nyquist plot, we will get infinite radius from plus 90 to minus 90 if y equal to 1. That means if system is type 1, we will have one half circle. We will have one half circle. If we put y equal to 2, okay, if we put y equal to 2, then what you will get? 180 to minus 180. That means 180, 90, 180 to minus 180. That means from 180, this is your 180, 90, 180, 90, 0, 1 half cycle, then minus 90, then minus 180. So we are getting 1 and 1, 2 half cycles, 2 half cycle. If it is type 2, fine. If it is type 3, it is 3. Then 270 plus 272 minus 270. Now plus 270 degree means what? Here, right? Now plus 270, then 180, then 90, 0, minus 90, minus 180, minus 270. So what you will get? This is your 1 half cycle, this is your second half cycle, this is your third half cycle. So you will get, if type 3, we will get 3 half cycle, half circles. That means what? How many poles are there at origin? That many half circles should be there in your Nyquist plot. But this is half cycle means it is infinite radius half circles that we are getting because of the Nyquist 2 contour, which is a zero radius. Okay, so this is the concept. Now this concept we have to apply, fine, and I will show you with some example how we are getting this particular result according to this concept or not. So in this Nyquist stability criterion, the basic concept, let me tell you last time, that is the formula we are getting from the argument, that is n equal to p minus z, where n is the number of encirclement anti-clockwise direction of the point, critical point minus 1 j0. P is the number of poles of open loop transfer function in right half plane of S plane. Number of poles. So P is number of poles of open loop transfer function in right half plane. Z actually number of poles of closed loop transfer function in right half plane. This is the main concept, and the arguments we are getting from the principle of argument, we are getting this, or we are arriving this concept n equal to p minus z. Now we can do vice versa also. That means in some book you can see it is written as n equal to z minus p. That time this n must be clockwise. Why? Because z is we are considering as higher value, z minus p. So this should be then clockwise, because if we have more number of zeros in S plane, more number of zeros in S plane, and that is enclosed in right half plane, then in FS plane what we can see, z minus of p one time encirclement in clockwise direction, in clockwise direction, okay, in clockwise direction, because of number of z, right? So this is the another point that you can see in any books. You can see that in any book. This is the concept. So here if you take care of this direction, if you put all the value, you will get same result without any problem. Okay. Now let us do like one example. Say your P. Okay, P equal to 1, then here Z should be equal to P minus N. Now to stable, what should be the encirclement? N. N should be equal to 1. Okay, so N should be equal to plus 1. That means it should be anti-clockwise direction. Encirclement should be anti-clockwise. Then it is plus because this is anti-clockwise. Same concept if you apply here, then what we can write that your Z, okay, equal to Z equal to N plus P, right? N plus P. Now, if we want to make Z equal to 0, right? If you want to make Z equal to 0 stable system, P equal to 1, then this N must be minus 1. Then only it will be 0, right? Now minus 1, N is clockwise, then minus 1 means N should be here anti-clockwise direction. If N is anti-clockwise, it is clockwise, so you have to consider minus 1, then it will be 0. So here see, for both cases, if we apply, that means in both formula if we apply, for if we have number of open loop transfer function pole in right half plane equal to 1 and we have encirclement in anti-clockwise direction, if we apply in this formula or in this formula, we will get stable system. That's all. So both the formula is applicable, but we have to take care of this anti-clockwise. If it is n equal to p minus z, encirclement should be anti-clockwise, and if it is n equal to z minus p, encirclement you have to consider as clockwise because this is z is before pole. Z means always it is clockwise, pole means anti-clockwise. That proof I have shown you with an example. Okay, so this is all about the concept of Nyquist stability criteria. We have to apply only this formula and we have to find out, and in next lecture video I will solve some problems and I will discuss all those problems in details. So thank you so much.